Hello and welcome, internets. You're welcome. Trying things a little bit differently here, just maybe a different setup for tonight's Inside Star Citizen review. We're experimenting here on the channel. I tend to like it. Let's see what we have in store tonight for tonight's Inside Star Citizen review.
Earlier this year, we introduced you to the Arena Commander feature team, newly created with some familiar and friendly faces to take the long-ignored dogfight module and bring it up to date with today's advances in the persistent universe, as well as see if we can't restore some of that feature and technology testbed intention from its earliest incarnations.
Wow.
And the very first parts of those labors are currently scheduled to arrive in the upcoming Alpha 320 in the biggest update Arena Commander has seen since it was first introduced. So let's throw it now to Duncan and Sam as they represent some of the work their team's been up to in the first of two back-to-back episodes we're calling Arena Commander, Air, Space, and Racing, followed by Foot, Tonk, and Testing, Part 1, the first half.
Check out the little sim that Jared's
all
on
there
here.
on the thumbnail. I got
Is that his
overruled.
house, or where's he filming from?
Arena Commander is this game within a game, which lets us take these super fun, awesome moments that we've all experienced in the PU and get them down into this short, fun snippet of 10, 15 minutes, hop in, hop out.
I think the most fun about Arena Commander is that you get to just jump in and play the game that you want to play.
That man
you
is
don't
so
have
meta.
to spend time collecting all the stuff that you need to go out. You just pick a thing and you start playing it.
It lets people get down and dirty without the repercussions that you experience in the PU.
Is it possible for Arena Commander to help the development of Star Citizen?
Yes, it can be used for testing things that aren't quite in the PU yet, but will be soon. And it can be used for testing things that are already in the PU.
As we get closer and closer to Death of a Spaceman, it becomes a vital part of everyone's time in Star Citizen. Be it you just want to practice your flight controls, you want to practice racing, you want to get better at dogfighting or FPS combat, you should be looking at Arena Commander to practice these things so that you don't lose everything when you do it in the PU.
All it takes is a 30K. All it takes is a
Last
30K.
time on ISC, we talked about all the things that
3.19
we
is very
wanted
unplayable
to do,
for me right now. I
and
don't know about you
we were
guys.
currently working on the whole laying the foundations idea, that we just needed to hunker down and get these refactors done so that we can start working on some amazing content which we have lined up. Now I'm glad to be in ISC again to talk about that content which we have been working on since. Before we get started, I want to shout out the team. I've got a list here so I don't forget anyone. We've got Adam, Adrian, Bryn, Corwin, Kirk, Mark, Ricky, Samuel, Sean, hi Sean, and Simon, all working extremely hard, and everyone else and all the other teams that have been extremely helpful in helping us get to where we are today. So let's take you through the flow from the beginning to the end.
Let's check it out.
So the front end, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, multiple screens, an absolute pain to get through. We want to clean up that experience,
so sloppy.
get rid of all this flash clunkiness and
I totally
unnecessary
agree with that.
wait times between screens.
Yeah.
With the new front end, we've consolidated everything essentially into one place for everything that you want to do.
The first thing you'll see is Star Marine and Arena Commander have merged together in a single nice clean interface.
You can play any FPS game mode, any dogfighting game mode, whatever you want, essentially. It's all in that one place.
So we've taken a more diegetic approach. We've got a better 3D representation of pretty much everything.
Plus, Limitless says, Limit says Theaters of War, if only. And then, you know, the funny thing is that we've got word here that Cloud Imperium is going to buy Elite Dangerous and call Elite Dangerous Theaters of War. This just did. What is that? Oh, Cloud Imperium's buying Elite Dangerous? Okay, they're calling that Theaters of War? All right.
We've got a 3D representation of the ship or loadout that you've got selected, and more layers upon this, what was originally a 2D UI, very flat. We want to bring it in line with the diegetic approach that we have, across all of Star Citizen.
I mean,
and
they cleaned it
unify
up a bit.
So patch notes are now included in the game, so you have quick and easy access to see everything that's changed about Arena Commander in detail since the last patch. We're also excited to say that we're working on widescreen support. It's still a work in progress, and we're hoping to get it in for this release, but I wanted to let everyone know that we're working on that. To the right is social menus, it's friends list notifications and party, and that takes us into the new lobby system, which we've completely refactored. This new lobby system utilizes the friends and party system, which you all know from Star Citizen in the PU, and works in tandem with it rather than separately. You'll be able to invite people straight from your friends list or your party into your Arena Commander lobby or squad. This new lobby system is faster, more reliable, and hopefully be a much better experience than what you're used to. And it lets you play with the people you want to play with, get into groups faster and easier than ever before. So once you click launch, you'll go straight into the game, and the first thing you're going to notice is the new spawn screen, which is on almost every mode.
The new spawn screens are our way of essentially making sure that once you're in game, you can do things that you couldn't do before in Arena Commander. You'll be able to change your ship, you'll be able to change your loadout in game. All of these things are going to be things that you can do with the new spawn screen. It's the way that you can see the battlefield from above without having to actually get into the game. It's essentially our way of making sure that the player knows everything they need to know before they start shooting.
So what's great about this new spawn screen, among many things, it finally lets us bring multi-crew to Arena Commander. You'll be able to party up with friends and join their ships in free flight, both swarm modes and squadron battles.
Yeah, you can just click on their ship and just jump straight into it.
Wouldn't it, in theory, be a lot better of an experience, and you would have less desync in a scenario like this? That's pretty good news, right? I mean, like, I'm imagining if I were to log in with the party and I was playing Arena Commander and I had desync issues still, then I'm gonna have a freaking hissy. Then I will blow up. You're gonna see a very angry, like, if it happens in that mode, like, I will be upset. But I don't think it will. I think this is good news.
No longer do you have to awkwardly park next to each other and then get into the other player's ship.
Right.
You can just spawn directly into the turret of that person's vehicle.
So for now, for these combat modes, you'll be locked into your seat, but I'm personally super excited for eventually having engineering gameplay also in Arena Commander and laying the foundations with this spawn screen. It leads into that. And this is just the first step. We're excited to eventually work on engineering and combined arms gameplay for these modes as well.
Windlord's got most rim shots tonight.
So let's start looking at maps, new and old, starting with the new Horizon Speedway.
How many people? What's the cap on
So the whole new Horizon Speedway has been moved to green, the third planet of the Ellis system.
I guess
for new Horizon Speedway, we now have our own entire planet just for Arena Commander. It has its own atmospherics. It's a fully fledged planet, essentially, which we've worked with the planet team on. We have our own biomes, it even has beaches, although you may not win the race if you do try and see them.
And this represents the first time that we have real atmospheric racing in Arena Commander, but be careful, we're still experimenting with wind and weather, but it's too early to say exactly where it's going to land. So the new Horizon Speedway now has 4 tracks, starting with Rickard Memorial Raceway. It's the least unchanged of the bunch. It played pretty well, we thought. We added more checkpoints, and that's just about it for Rickard. Moving on to Old Vanderval, it's the easiest, shortest of all the tracks. We've cleaned up some of the cheeky little shortcuts that you guys found, and that big dive in the middle of the map where you go right down in between all these buildings, we've expanded that across, and you now curve all the way around a giant pillar in this large curved dive now, which we feel is a really good place for that map. It's still the shortest of all the tracks, but it will seem longer due to atmospheric flight. Next is Defford Link. It's the longest and hardest of all the tracks, and it's a complete rework from the ground up.
It's kind of designed as a sort of endurance test where you are flying between, obviously, all of the buildings in New Horizon Speedway, but it's not really about those tight corners.
I love those floating abs, man. It's
heavy, sharp turns. It's about making sure that you don't crash. It's about making sure that you can keep that good race line through the entire map, essentially. Defford is our most difficult map and has been from the beginning and still is now. It's
really a dance with atmosphere with this map. You are going around, zigzagging around buildings, down, corkscrewing around, barrel rolling. My favourite part is the vertical corkscrew and the dive down right at the end before that home stretch back to the finish line. So Halloran Circuit is the 4th edition to the New Horizon Speedway collection. It's primarily inspired by snowboarding. So you're going to see a giant half pipe that expands the entire level, where you're going to have to really test your limits, test your drifting, get those rear engines in the back so you can go down this pipe at the best speeds possible.
When I last played it, it kind of reminded me of bobsleighing, where you basically are riding on each bank using the atmospherics of the plane to basically heavily go between each of the very different buildings and hard turns that are inside of the map.
And we all just think it's really fun.
Alongside this, we also have a few PE race maps that are also coming into Arena Commander.
We've got the Snake Pit, Miner's Lament, Yadar Valley, and Icebreaker. And this is your chance to go in and practice those races risk-free.
In addition to the race maps, we also have several dogfighting maps coming to Arena Commander.
Starting with Jericho Station and Security Post Korea. Jericho Station is the most lightweight of all of these. It's the first PU location that we actually took into Arena Commander, and that is because it is lightweight. There's no planetary bodies around, so it was the easiest for us to get started with. It's just a beautiful location. You see some nebulas off in the background, and I don't know about you, but I've been there a lot with Xeno for it, so it's a familiar battleground for me.
Essentially allows you to playtest fighting other people and AI around that station in Arena Commander, like you were just in the PU doing it. It's once again another way of having that risk-free practice, as well as providing the players finally a much more open and less cluttered dogfighting map in Arena Commander.
It also let us address some of the feedback that we got from the community and developers alike, that we needed an arena which was clear of debris and just very lightweight, high performance for people to dogfight and blow up.
Okay.
With the inclusion of Security Post Korea, it means we also have a map now which has turrets. We can essentially use those turrets to add more to the gameplay whilst you're fighting amongst yourselves and against other AI.
Okay.
It gives us the ability to add new modes which use those turrets more effectively. So you're not just fighting against players, you're fighting against the map itself.
So you're probably asking yourself, why these two locations out of everything in the verse? It's because we had to start somewhere, and Jericho Station, it's the simplest of all the locations in the PU. There's no planetary bodies. It had nebulas that we had to bring in, but otherwise pretty simple. And with everything that we take from the PU, it's to address these challenges. We want to overcome these, right now it's not a simple copy-paste job, but hopefully in the future this pipeline that we've made is a lot faster, and we can get a lot more maps from the PU, and this is just the start. And the last dogfighting map, which I'm super excited to talk about, is we finally have a dogfighting map in Atmosphere.
New Horizon Arena is based on the very map that we've put all of those race ships into, but instead of just speeding around it trying to get the best time, instead you're going to be fighting amongst yourselves in Atmosphere finally.
I know you've been asking for this for so long. Fighting in Atmosphere, as you know, brings unique challenges. It's a lot higher skill ceiling, and it's where most of the fights happen in the PU, so bringing atmospheric dogfighting into Arena Commander was an important step for us. As far as game modes that can be played here, it's all of them, and we're excited to see how players handle it.
You'll be able to do every single dogfighting mode available.
You can play Pirate Swarm, Vandal Swarm, Squadron Battle Duel, and Battle Royale.
Oh, yep, thank you.
So talking about Pirate Swarm, we've also got an update coming for that. This update includes a new final boss wave. You're now going to be experiencing a capital battle between pirates and UEE, and you're stuck in the middle. So as you get to that 10th wave, the pirate fleet warp in. It consists of 2 hammerheads, 4 cutlass blacks, 6 gladiuses, and a pirate Idris. And your objective here is to simply survive. So as those pirates come in, the UEE also send in 2 F8 Lightnings to come and help you. Those F8s inform you that a UE fleet is on their way to help you.
Listen. Here's my questions. What's the cap on the amount of people you can bring in to the party, to it? Like, we don't know yet, right? Secondly, is it going to be fun? Is it going to be an experience that's smoother with less desync? And am I not going to get as pissed off because I'm not getting 30Ks, or I'm not getting like crazy physics? I mean, like, these are the questions that are burning inside of me. Just look at this. See all this fire over here? This is the burning with these questions are burning me. I need a pill for that.
But you have to survive those 2 minutes for them to reach you in time. Once the timer ends, a UE fleet consisting of 8 additional F8 Lightnings, 6 Gladiuses
Right,
and
what's
2
right,
Javelins come out of warp and start pummeling in to that pirate fleet and helping you towards victory.
Oh,
This
make it
update
fun,
comes with
make
a
it
new
fun.
Spectrum
Lots of
badge, so you've got a
explosions are
couple
the
more
secret,
weeks to
lots
get the
of
old one before that gets
explosions.
switched out. Those rewards are only obtainable in multiplayer, so make sure you hop into multiplayer
Right,
before the
skadoosh,
update so you can get
skadoosh.
that Pirate Aggressor badge. With the new version, we're introducing a new badge that you'll be able to get starting from the release.
That's how it's
So
going
there's
to be,
also duel mode.
Limitless.
It's
AI
a
is going to get all the
1v1
cool stuff,
dogfighting
bro.
mode. Previously, would kill your enemy and just continue on. Now we've added rounds.
Looks really
So after you get
smooth.
that
Like,
kill,
the whole-
you're going to
like, the
respawn,
map
fully
looks
equipped,
updated.
rearmed, ready for the next
Like
fight.
the whole look,
And don't
the
worry, I've got you. We're
texturing. I
working
haven't
on
been in there
leaderboards.
in a
It'll
long-
take a little
in a
bit
long
extra time,
while,
but
though.
we'll get there. And the last of our mode updates is something called experimental modes, but we're going to touch on that
Okay,
a bit more
figures.
next week. So there's a few more additions coming to Arena Commander, including the Death Cam and Death
Oh,
Recap.
that's
You'll
quite
be
a
able to
jump,
view the
Windlord.
action after you die rather than it point to the ground. This new Death Camera will point out your opponent rather than being
I
this
agree with
static
that,
camera that
Limitless.
just zooms off into the abyss. But it recaps everything that you did in that life, so damage you dealt to enemies, damage you received, and how you died. We're also iterating on the scoreboard, so we're adding right-click options so you can mute, add friends, add squad up together using the new lobby system. We also fixed that really annoying issue where, your teammates appear in the other team in the scoreboard even though they're not in the actual game, as well as, all the other things that came along with, the round system and stuff that wasn't really cooperating with it. So those are all fixed up now, thankfully. We've also updated scoring, so now the score will change based on the rating of your opponent, so you get more reward if you're killing, the rank 1 player versus someone that's brand new to Arena Commander. Repeatedly killing the same player is going to give you less.
This is a smart move. I'm going to tell you why this is a smart move, because everybody's at the point right now where 3.19 is a pain in their ass, and they're having a lot of desync and 30K issues. 3.19 is unplayable to a lot of people, and they're trying to do stuff to kind of detour people into a scenario where they're going to have a little bit better of an experience while they're still up against the wall with server meshing. So where is the server meshing episode 2? We had the episode 1. We had episode 1 of server meshing, I don't know, right before the break, right? And then you never heard anything again. They skipped the topic. They never mentioned anything else. It was server meshing episode 1. And then the next episode took a left turn, and we didn't hear anything about episode 2 after that. And we still haven't, right? And so this is a very good corporate chess game being played here. So what's happening now is they're giving us like this opportunity to have an experience that might be a little bit better with fewer amount of people, and giving us new maps so that we can kind of take the detour, go into these zones with our friends, have slightly better experiences, and then they still have to grapple with server meshing in the PU, man. So, like, what my question is to Cloud Imperium and the devs is, when are we going to see more about server meshing? When are we going to hear more about quantum? When are we going to hear more about trading involved with quantum? How is it connected with server meshing? Like, what are the weights? What are the big ones that are right in front of our face? Smack dab, biggest issues. That needs to be the episode very soon on Inside Star Citizen. Or at least that talk needs to happen on Star Citizen Live. These are the things that they're going to eventually have to grapple with, because they cannot continue to play Ring Around the Rosie and kind of, this is a great step. I love everything that I'm seeing here. It's actually quite a good chess move on Cloud Imperium's part, and it also satisfies some of us who are having really bad experiences with 3.19, which I would say is a pretty good majority of people right now. I was just talking with the ERAD. ERAD was having bad times with 3.19 as well, and it just seems to me like if Cloud Imperium and the developers started to focus on the things that were the biggest roadblocks or hurdles that I think all of us know, or those who are veterans know are there, then it would be better for them to focus on these talking points for the next episodes of Inside Star Citizen or Star Citizen Live. That's what I think.
Score to
but I'm very
stop
happy
that
what I
cheating
see
going on.
here.
And if you try to leave a game early, it's going to give you an early leaver punishment.
Stunner. What's up, Stunner?
So that's just some of the goodies we've got coming with 320 and dogfighting and racing.
Right,
I'm
dude.
excited to be returning next week to talk to you about FPS combat
Okay.
and some of
Well,
the
this is
additions
good.
we're
Okay,
adding to
FPS
those
combat.
mods,
I'm down
as
with
well
that.
as experimental mods. Bye. I'll do the woo again.
People are really nervous. Listen, Jared too, man. I'm going to give a round of applause to Jared, man. It's not easy. They're all under the microscope, dude. Listen, these guys are all under the microscope. Me, I'm no better. I'm doing the same thing. I'm criticizing, I'm scrutinizing, I'm the dude looking through the microscope. So these guys, I give these guys credit. Anybody that shows up on this show, they don't have to do this. They got some balls, they got some cojones. It's cojones time. And they're stepping up to the plate, and they're like, all right, I'll do it. But you saw the pressure, So we're going to do the slow-mo to see the pressure right now, right? Okay, so we do this on the show where we have our slow-mo times. And to accentuate moments of the show, let's see.
We're adding to those modes as well as experimental modes. Bye.
Okay, now we're going to rewind here. We're going to slow-mo it. Slow-mo. It's time to watch. It's time to watch the pressure that we give to this gentleman.
We're adding to those modes as well as experimental modes. Bye. See you next week.
I'm in a fountain.
Welcome to DG360. Did you forget why you were here? I think you remember now. What's up, Jilted? Thank you. Now, listen, one of the best VIP slow-mos in the world given to you by myself to my VIPs. That's what I'll do.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that true
give amazing
atmospheric slide is
slow-mos.
coming
Ask
to Arena
Christy.
Commander for both racing and fighting modes. That locations from the persistent universe are being brought
Ask
into the simulation to let you test your metal easier than ever before. That this becomes more and more important and valuable as the PU continues to move closer to the death of a spaceman in the future. And that
Okay.
all of this would already be the biggest update Arena Commander has ever seen, but there's even more stuff coming next week as we look at Star Marine editions, including Tonk Royale and
All
the
right.
implementation of experimental
Everybody's
modes
down for
that
a
aim
Tonk
to
Royale,
return
man.
Arena Commander to the feature and technology testbed it was once intended to be.
And they have to. And again, like I said, it's a brilliant chess move. They have to do this. They're trying to kind of detour people to get away from the fact that 319's a mess, that server meshing's breathing down their back, and they're running up against this wall. And I'll tell you what, though, regardless, man, they're keeping their shit together. They're keeping it as transparent as possible. I would ask Jared and others there to step it up a notch just slightly. You guys are doing great work. Production is great. It's improved 100-fold since last year, especially with the new studio. The show has become more professional in its format and the way that it's given to us. I think overall has become more professional. However, again, it's always about the content. It's always about the topics. And the focus, in my opinion, should start to gear towards those big roadblocks in the way, because you can only play Ring Around the Rosie so often.
Then, back in the PU, I hear
Pocket full
there's a
of
jump
posies,
town
man.
going on at the moment.
Ashes,
I
we
sure
all
hope
fall
it's
down
safe.
if we keep dancing
For
to it.
Inside
You know what
Star
I'm saying?
Citizen, I'm Jared
That's
Huckabee.
my
Thanks for
honest
exploring the
review
process
there.
of game development with us, and we'll see you all here next week.
Yep. Well, this is the thing, man. They're going to keep doing this until they've got the answer or they're close to it. But hopefully they do it before that and just man up and nut up and say these are what we're dealing with.
Should we have moved the plant?
What's up with the plants? Whose idea was it to put the plants next to the sim pit? Whose bright idea was that? Let's put some plants. Let's put some wonderful plants by the sim pit, shall we? Oh, said no gamer ever.
Time to own some news.
Fake simpit. Fake simpit. Oh, it's so sad. Jared, that is the saddest, daddest thing I've ever seen in my life, man. I'm glad I played that to the end. Now, listen, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for being here. But you should also try to make it to the live show here with these amazing, amazing men and women that took their time to be here. Let's applause everyone. Because without you, there is no DG360. And without me, there is also no DG360. So, together... this is how we have to be, a symbiosis, if you will. Some people would say, but DG without you is still you. No, it is not. And I say unto thee, shame for even saying that, because
Shame.
I am not DG without
Shame.
thee or thou.
Shame.
See, I said English was my second language, PePe. You understand? This is why. I'm just not landing with any demographic here when I'm speaking. All right, push the thumb, whichever one you want. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Help the algorithm, feed the algorithm. You are the natural, organic algorithm. I spell it like this: algo with some rhythm. Right there. And you have a little move to your algo. You know what I mean? You kind of like, you shake it up. You get a little samba going, you know? So I see what you're doing. The channel's doing great because of you. Thank you very much. And now it is time for the after party. Sorry, goodbye, YouTube. The people that are here live get the after party, and all the VIPs afterwards, they get the after party because that's where the hotness happens. Oh, I'm getting a little excited right here. No, okay, all right. Let's get back to the... That was a little too much. I got a little too sexual on the end of that one. We're going to get banned. Watch out. DG just licked his nipple. How's everybody doing tonight?